Look, I think it's a reasonable change and reasonable in the circumstances. I do think that the Prime Minister was correct, and I agree with what he said about the necessity initially for speed and for the broadness of JobKeeper. I do think that perhaps as a consequence of the level and the broadness of it, even though it did mean that some people were getting more than they'd actually been earning before the introduction of JobKeeper, that it probably did boost consumption, which helped hold up the economy over the past 3 or 4 months. That's a good thing. I think now the opportunity is there for better targeting and possibly for a reduction. My word of caution, though, is this. It assumes on the part of Treasury that the economy, the improvement in growth we saw recently will continue through the final quarter of the year. If it does not, then, of course, the number of people who will be on JobSeeker, if not JobKeeper, will increase and go above and beyond the government's estimates of what it's going to cost, which is around an additional $20 billion, which is relatively modest when you look at what has been spent in just last 3 or 4 months. And you also got to remember that there are quite a number of businesses out there which are currently depending on the fact that they're not paying rent, that's been deferred, and also that their loan repayments have been deferred. Now, what happens in the situation in the final quarter of the year if they're not able to return to regular levels of business? Then I suspect that the amount of money that is being outlaid on JobKeeper and JobSeeker will be considerably higher than is currently being estimated.
And when you look at JobSeeker, that payment's now dropping down to $810 a fortnight, down from $1,100. It'll be reconsidered again at the end of the year. Also, we're seeing a stepping up in terms of mutual obligations. Job seekers will need to prove that they've applied for 4 jobs a month. We're starting to see some reaction coming through from union groups, from some of the community service groups, not happy with that aspect of it. There are going to be penalties in place. We know if job seekers don't accept those job offers, they're pointing out it's a pretty tough market to be looking for a job.
Well, the question is, where are the jobs? I thought it was mildly ironic that the very point that the government was announcing this reduction in JobSeeker, the Treasurer was reminding all and sundry that we have historically high levels of unemployment. Where are the jobs? Now, one other thing I can say, the Prime Minister was pretty wary of suggesting what would happen to JobSeeker beyond the end of the year, but I can bet you this, it's not going to go back to the level of New Start, certainly not with an election due probably by this time or a bit later next year. It certainly won't be reduced to the old New Start level, and I suspect that the level of support that we're seeing now, even at its reduced level, will continue through into the new year, because unemployment is not going to snap back. It took 15 years from the 1990-91 recession for unemployment to reach pre-recession levels, and I suspect it will be much the same on this occasion. So the unemployed are going to need more support. It won't be at the old JobSeeker level, but it will be above where it was for New Start.